So I've been looking forward to making this announcement for a ridiculously long time, and that is that the plans for my sawmill are now finally available. They're finally done and they are up on my website, ready for your consumption. So I was going to do this video here today, but it is kind of raining. I wanted to spend just a few minutes talking to you a little bit about the plans, what you can expect inside of them, and how everything's kind of laid out, and stuff like that. So when I set out to build my mill, there were a couple of things that I wanted to do differently than what I had seen done in the past. So first off, the biggest thing is that most of those homemade sawmills that I've seen are kind of made to the idea of build them as cheaply as possible, not worry too much about their performance. I wanted to go in the other direction. I wanted to build the best mill I could possibly build, even more so like better than what you could buy. But kind of going along with that, the other huge problem that I had going into it was that there wasn't any real good documentation on how to actually go about doing it and how all of the things kind of work together and play together. So when I went into this whole build, I wanted to make sure that my process, the whole experience, was documented so that it could be repeated by someone else that might not have anywhere near the experience that I do now that I've gone through it. So the videos that I did about the whole process, they're all out there. They show the entirety of everything I went through. To do that, I have even more details for each of those videos on the website, and all the write-ups and all these plans kind of bring that all kind of together and provide the last little bit of detail that needs to be out there to fully replicate this mill as easily as possible. So first off, I want to talk a little bit about pricing. The plans right now are on sale for $60. I am going to raise the price. I don't know what it's going to be raised to, but I will be raising it. And the reason it's lowered right now, there's a few reasons behind that thinking. So first of all, I have been working on these things with my friend Dima for over a year now, and there have been a ton of people asking me for these things, and I keep telling them that I'm working on them, and everyone's been super patient. So as a little bit of a thank you, they are offered at a lower price. Now, the second and probably bigger reason is the fact that I still have not completed the work on my mill to the actual final specifications of these plans. So things like the lube system and the lift linking mechanism, that I have not done yet. I have not actually prototyped those things in these plans. So until I actually do those things and make sure that those things actually work out in the real world and not just in the computer, that price will be lower. The other kind of last reason, I guess, that they're lower is because these are the first versions of the plans that are publicly available, and I do expect there to be some kind of update to these within like the next month or so. So just keeping that in mind, those kind of factors. Price is a little bit lower now, so if you are interested in these, now is probably going to be the best time to ever buy these things. With the purchase, you do get the updates for life. So every single time that I make an update to the plans, I'll let you know, and you'll also be able to get the updated version at any time, which is kind of nice. So let me talk to you a little bit about what's included in these things. So I just want to take you through the plans a little bit just to show you kind of how things are laid out and what level of detail you can expect through the whole document and all of the accessory files that come along with this as well. So the document is laid out according to this table of contents here. So every single larger component has a section, and that's broken up into all the detail for that part, or that section, I'm sorry. And then on the table of contents page, we've also included a listing of all of the parts that will require fabrication. So anything in here is stuff that you'll be making yourself, and those get assigned part numbers or part letters. And then the other things that you'll be buying to add to these don't have a part number or anything, but they are listed in the bill of materials for that section. As part of the beginning little area here, I also have the default cut capacities, so you can kind of see if you are to build this exactly as specified, this is what you're going to get. And this is basically the same exact cut capacities that my mill has that's sitting out in my driveway. In the beginning here, we also provide you with some views of the overall model so you can get an idea of how everything looks, just more for reference more than anything else. There's an isometric top, bottom, left view, and back view. We also provide you with this scaling page. So this lists out all the parts that need to be changed if you want to change the cut capacity. So for instance, if you wanted to make the cut width wider or narrower, these are all the parts you need to change to accommodate that different cut capacity. So I'm going to take you through one little section here. This is going to be for the bed. This is an older version with my correction marks on them still, because I don't feel like printing out another 130 something pages. So if you see any red marks, those are just things that have been corrected. So every section has a title page with a nice picture of what you're doing for that section. It also has a little bit of a write-up from me, just talking about some of the different things that might be applicable to that section. So here we're talking about cross-member spacings, how to weld up a nice flat frame, what the optional end braces are for, and then a sample bed extension in case you want to do bed extensions. Here we have just a overall bill of materials for the whole bed. So we'll tell you what kind of steel you need and all the bolts and things you want as well. For the larger pieces like the bed and the carriage, we're going to give you a cut list. So if you go to a steel dealer and you buy full length pieces of steel for these, this will show you all the cuts you need to make, and the black areas are what you're going to have left over. And just to give you an idea of what the overall plan kind of stuff looks like, this is the side of the bed frame. So it gives you all the holes and all the locations and everything you need there. And this is pretty straightforward. This is prepping all the parts and then the assembly so you can see everything goes together and what the spacing is in this case for the bed frame and everything. So that's a typical layout of most of the sections. And if I go through, let me find something that actually has parts like the, here we go, the lift mechanism. So for instance, the lift mechanism doesn't really have a whole lot of stuff that needs to be fabricated. So there are your sprockets and your shafts and everything all listed here with the part numbers and suppliers. And then for the lift, here are the pieces that need to be fabricated. So lots of detail in here, that's for sure. So on top of the actual plans document, we also include some additional files. So we have here, for instance, the guards in a DXF file in case you want to have those plasma cut instead of trying to cut them out manually. We also provide a bunch of 3D PDFs of a bunch of the different larger components so you can kind of fly around and take a look at all of the individual parts by making up the component to make kind of looking at things a little bit easier. So here we have the saw head, and we also have the overall full assembly of this thing. So if you wanted to fly around and take a look at it, you can do that. So the plans are out there on my website right now. There's a link to that in the description. These will be provided electronically, so once you get through the checkout process, you'll get an email with the receipt, and that receipt has the download links for this document as well as the files file as well. And I want you to know about one other thing. In addition to just the standard boring downloadable version, I also have a little bit of a special edition thing if you're interested in that. That will be for both. You get a digital version of the plans as well as a really nicely printed and bound final version of the plans. You also get a hat, t-shirt of your size and in your size, and the print style of your choice, as well as a decal if you want to put that on your mill that you're going to make or hang it up in your shop like I do here. The physical items will ship in like 4 to 6 weeks because, again, I want to make sure that the final printed version that I make for those books are like as close to being as perfect as possible. So, because those aren't really all that easily changeable. So I'll have a link to that as well if you're interested in that package. Otherwise, I'll see you in a few days for a shop update. And that's about it. Happy woodworking.